Hello everybody, my name is Pravus, and welcome to an early look at BioInk Redemption, a game that is currently available in early access on Steam, and of course, being in early access, be aware that everything in this video is subject to change. Now, in the last video, we took a look at the Life campaign, where we play as a doctor heroically diagnosing all of the different illnesses and diseases and conditions in John Smith's life and saving him at the very last minute. Now, John Smith, you might think, is one tremendously unlucky person. How do you develop so many diseases and conditions at once? Well, what if it's not a question of luck? What if someone is deliberately experimenting on John Smith and inflicting all these different diseases with the intention of eventually killing him? And this is where the Death campaign comes into play, where we will play as an evil doctor malpracticing the crap out of John Smith. So let's go ahead and continue up the Death campaign. It uses a lot of the same basic kind of mechanics, but now we're playing from the other side of the equation, and it requires a slightly different strategy to approach it. I've already finished off all the scenarios here in the morgue, so now we are going to move on into the graveyard. And this scenario is called Total Failure. Terminate all systems. You may remember from the last video that there were 8 different subsystems to the body. Well, now we need to destroy all of them. And once, again, they kind of start exponentially getting worse as each one progressively fails. So once we get 1 or 2 or 3 of those down, we're going to find it a lot easier to beat this. I'm going to play on moderate difficulty. We'll keep it as John Smith. He gets out of the hospital, and we immediately pick him up and start experimenting on him. Now we need to choose our boosters. I'm going to go for BioPoints Rush, which will give us multiple resources, just kind of randomly. And for diseases, maybe environment. You know what, I'm going to go for Quick Collapse. Increase system collapse by 30%. Since we need all of them to fail, I think that might actually be helpful. And let's begin the game. Again, the idea will be to shut down every one of his subsystems. Now, the way that you play the game is actually fairly similar in a lot of ways. We are going to be collecting biopoints. Instead of blood cells, they're germs and viruses and stuff like that. But otherwise, the exact same concept, so that's nothing really new. Let's go to the bio map, and what you can see here is there are no symptoms. Right now, this is a perfectly healthy patient. He has nothing really wrong with him. And if you wanted to go to, let's say, the cardiovascular system, the circulatory system, what we could do is evolve a new disease, such as hypertension, and give him these 2 symptoms, headache and dizziness. We can also see down here that it has some slight effect on the renal system, the nervous system, and the circulatory system in particular. So we can start shutting those down. All we have to do is spend 4 biopoints and we'll be able to do that. Now, of course, as we start unlocking more and more symptoms, what could happen is John Smith will realize something's wrong with him and want to go to the doctor, at which point the AI will attempt to diagnose the diseases that we have inflicted and begin to cure them. So we kind of want to fly under the radar for a little bit, build up a lot of biopoints, and keep severity relatively low, sort of similar to how you would play Plague Inc. In fact, in a lot of ways, I think that the Death mode is the most similar to Plague Inc. because of very similar goals. I mean, you're still trying to destroy the world. Grab that. Don't lose it. Thank you. So yeah, some similarity there. Now, besides just diseases that we can inflict, there's also risk factors and recovery, very similar to what we had in the Life campaign. Now, risk factors is the opposite of lifestyles. Lifestyles try to improve certain subsystems' health over time. We're going to try to make them more vulnerable. So, for example, we could have a hereditary risk factor, more likely that he picked up some sort of hereditary risk from his parents, which makes circulatory and muscular systems more susceptible to whatever diseases I choose to inflict. And so on and so forth, malnutrition, sedentary, workaholic, smoker, and so on. If anything, this actually ought to give you some sort of an idea of what kind of behavior in your life as a real person might actually be putting you at more risk. Maybe not quite in the same way, but you get the idea. And then there's also unlucky, which increases the odds of randomly evolving a disease for free. As far as recovery, there's a few different options here. I think this is actually a little bit more useful in Death mode than it is in Life mode. So here we have Bad Doctors. All diagnostic tests take 50% longer to perform, which can be a pretty good way of slowing down the AI. Generic treatments make all treatments slightly less effective, so the systems will continue to deteriorate, although not as quickly as before they were cured. Nurses on strike only works once they have started the recovery process, but this will pause all treatments and diagnostic tests for a few weeks once we evolve this. And then lastly, I think the most important one here is nosocomophobia, or however you say that. is defined as the fear of hospitals and clinics. The victims are less likely to go to the doctor, which means you are less likely to be detected, which means you can start, you're able to get a lot more diseases inflicted on this patient before you even have to worry about the AI to begin with. So in a lot of ways, I kind of wonder if the proper strategy with death mode, as opposed to life mode, is to, one, get the recovery stuff, right? Get this phobia, evolve a bunch of risk factors, and then stock up on a whole bunch of diseases. A whole bunch of biopoints so you can evolve a lot of diseases at once and overwhelm the AI. I have no idea if that is the best strategy, but I suspect that it might be at least a contender, but again, I don't pretend to be in any way an expert for this particular game. I'm still sort of figuring it out. I've only been able to beat things on a pretty moderate difficulty. As far as upgrading our resources, overall health has to be lower than 80% to unlock the next level. Terminate at least one system will unlock level 3. And terminate 3 systems for extra resources at level 4. These won't be a problem because I'm supposed to be terminating all of these in order to win the scenario anyway, so we're already going to be doing that, no problem. So let's go ahead and get some risk factors going. I'm going to go for something like hereditary and perhaps malnutrition. I'm going to spend some points to make it less likely that he goes to the doctor, and that unlocks level 2, so he's even less likely. Or countryside, the patient is far from the hospital and it will take more time to bring him to the emergency room whenever his health starts getting really quite low. But in the meantime, what we're doing is we're just making John Smith live a very unhealthy lifestyle, so he is particularly vulnerable when we decide we want to start inflicting a lot of pain in his life. But that will all certainly help. As far as his nervous system, let's go ahead and grab these points like so. I am going to spend some DNA at least to get, let's say, I don't know, hypertension. We'll get him a headache, we'll get him some dizziness, and start shutting down gradually 3 of his subsystems for only 4 points. And I think, I don't know, but I think that these little dashes here, only 1 dash, I think means it's a relatively low severity, so it's not as likely to draw attention, as opposed to, oh gee, I don't know, let's say, kidney cysts, for example, has abdominal pain at 2 dashes, so I would imagine that means it's very severe and very likely to be detected, or more likely that he goes to the doctor in the first place. I don't know for sure that that's how that works, but I suspect that it might be. I'm going to go ahead and grab Nascomophobia at level 2, so he is even less likely to go to the doctor, buy myself as much time as possible, generate some DNA, give him some worse lifestyle traits, maybe inflict a couple little symptoms on him, like let's say chronic stress. Let's give him some anxiety and a headache. And just start gradually ticking away at some of these little subsystems and stuff like that. Go to that immune system, grab that green bubble. Don't want that virus going away. Those things, the more valuable one of these little germs or blood cells are, the faster that they tend to go away. They disappear. So you really have to be on top of it. And to that extent, I really feel like the hotkeys are super important to be able to get around in the different subsystems of your patient, so you can take advantage of these before they disappear. At least that seems to be my experience thus far. Risk factors. Now I have no idea what this -2 biopoints thing means. I don't know if that means I get less points from this or what. Or maybe it means that all muscular symptoms are actually cheaper to buy? You know, I don't know. Let's actually test that real quick. If I go to muscular stuff, we can see potassium. Let's take a look at necrotizing fasciitis. 21 points in order to evolve that in the first place. So if I go for sedentary and evolve that, I'm going to give it a moment to recalculate, and then go to diseases. It costs 19. Yes! Okay, that actually changes my perception of risk factors a little bit, and maybe lifestyles as well. I just learned something about the game. This is making it cheaper to inflict different kinds of diseases upon John. So actually, these can be pretty helpful. It costs you a fair bit of biopoints, but it could save you a bunch of biopoints. So that just kind of lends some credibility to me that the proper strategy in the death mode is going to be to start with a bunch of lifestyle risks, right? Really start making him an unhealthy person, and then start inflicting a lot of diseases, in theory. Then again, I also don't know if unhealthy lifestyles are likely to send him to the doctor as well. I mean, personally, if I was living a very unhealthy lifestyle, I might go to the doctor to see what can I do to, am I at risk for anything? John Smith might do that as well, but that is exactly why we evolved nosocomophobia, or however the heck you say that. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go for a junk food addict, okay? And then we're going to go for, let's say, dehydration. And, Can't really afford any of the others. Do these increase in cost as I do them? I don't know. We're going to go for Workaholic and make him a more nervous person as well. So a lot of his subsystems are starting to become more and more vulnerable to me. Well, I just lost a little 3-point virus. That sucks. Oh no, you don't have any water, John? And look, he's starting to get obese because he's eating a lot of McDonald's. Look at that go. What are you doing on your computer? Are you antisocial, or are you just a workaholic? Nope, he's a workaholic. That's why he's doing that. Okay. I do like the changes, you know, to his body and stuff like that. He's getting more obese. You can see that. I think that's kind of funny. Let's go to the respiratory system. Don't want to miss anything. Oh my god, look at that. There we go. Glad I checked that. Yeah, you really have to use those hotkeys, in my opinion. Really need to use those. Let's go for, let's say, the flu. Now, here's something you really need to understand about the death campaign, though. Depending on what the AI does and what they cure can restrict you moving forward. So let me give you an example of what happens. We just picked up the flu, okay? Now, I happen to know, having played the life campaign, that there is a flu test that will test for both the flu and H1N1. So pretty easy to detect this and figure it out from the cough. You know, no problem there. Now, if the AI were to diagnose the flu and cure it, what will happen then is everything after it, everything connected to it, becomes locked. So H1N1 and whatever these other two suddenly become inaccessible to me, and in that way, the AI is able to kind of corral you until you have very few options and try to beat you. That's going to be very important later. I have kind of an idea of how to work around that, but be aware that that's what they're going to do, and you can get yourself kind of screwed over and cut off a bunch of options if you're really not paying attention. All right, any more risk factors we want to do right now? Let's go for, oh gee, I don't know. Let's go for overweight. You know, we could make him obese as well, make it even more effective in the circulatory and respiratory systems. I'm going to go for smoker, and that's all the risk factors I think I'm going to evolve, with the possible exception of, ooh, alcoholic is good. Or unlucky, boost all diseases in the, increase the odds of randomly evolving something. I will want that at some point, probably. But you're getting fatter than ever, sir. You, need to go lose some money. Lose some weight. Okay, he's visiting the doctor, and there's a flu epidemic, so he's been exposed to more viruses than usual, which means we get more resources available to us. That can be kind of useful. Anyway, he's gone to the doctor. They're immediately doing a blood pressure test, and they're going to detect that I have, in fact, given him hypertension if we're not careful. So that's certainly fun. Let's try to take advantage of as much of this bio points as possible. So did he detect this? Probably, which means if he does cure this, I'm going to lose access to the brain aneurysm. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and evolve that now. We'll also go ahead and grab the blood clots and the high cholesterol, really start messing with his circulatory system, try shutting something down so that we'll unlock some different upgrades. You know what? I'm going to go for the potassium deficiency as well, and urinary incontinence, which is really cheap now, and constipation, all very cheap because of the risk factors that I have given him. And I'm going to have so many different variations in systems that I'm hoping it's going to slow down the AI and confuse them, overwhelm them with too many different options. Would love to go for something like photosensitivity or insomnia, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get that right now. His overall health has to be below 80% in order to unlock the next level of resources so that I am able to generate even faster bio points. So there you go. He's trying to find some stuff. You can see what diagnostic tests he's running right now. But he's not found anything. He's not curing anything, at least. Not right now. Nothing I can afford down there. I'm going to go for bronchitis, probably. Again, just trying to confuse him. Now, what I wish that it would show you is how these things are related to each other as far as what tests could get both of them. For example, what if there's a test, and I think that there is, that can detect both bronchitis and the flu? Now I'm kind of at risk. I wish I could know that from the death campaign, but I think the only way to really know is to have played the life campaign enough that you're really familiar with everything. Pretty sure. Go to the digestive system, grab all those viruses, so much bio points. Yes! Do you want to go for chronic bronchitis, runny nose? Sure, why not? We'll do that. Oh, he is detecting something. So he's cured the hypertension. It's a good thing we grabbed the brain aneurysm when we did. He also is currently working on chronic stress. If he cures this, I will have lost my options for nervous breakdown and so on. So we need to get some more... Oh, he's curing that really quick. If we can get some more DNA, I'll grab that right now. Grab. B. Okay, and before he cures that and locks me out, I'm going to grab a nervous breakdown and increase his anxiety. And that's kind of an important strategy, I think. What I'm doing is I'm allowing him to cure something, and then moving on to the next one down the list before he cures it, so I'm always one step ahead of him, and he's always having to chase after me. And that way I don't get screwed over. So I'm trying to pay attention to each of these treatments. At least that is the idea. And now I can continue to affect his nervous system, even though he has successfully cured the chronic stress. So that's good. All right. Do we want to go for hemorrhoids? Sure. Blood in his stool. Why not? Kick him while he's down. Type 1 diabetes. No. Gastroenteritis could be all right. Could be. But again, I don't remember every single one of the diagnostic tests and how everything's related, so I don't know if I'm creating a good combo for the AI to use against me by doing this. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Gastroenteritis, grab that, let's start vomiting. Now I'm trying to shut down several of his systems kind of at once, just to overwhelm the AI, but, you know, again, as these things fail, they start exponentially causing everything else to fail faster as well, so, you know, if I can get one of them to fail faster, that's great, but... Oh, he's trying to cure the gastroenteritis. Okay, what's related to that? Well, I can't unlock the next one until first I have a salmonella infection. We'll go ahead and grab this. That unlocks Crohn's disease, which will require 8 more DNA. I'd like to get that before my opponent can. Okay. Alternatively, we could allow that to go, spend our DNA to get harvest power, and start upgrading our resources, which I'm going to go ahead and do. It is more important to me in the long term that I start grabbing more of these bio points. So yeah, we'll do that. Still working on that gastroenteritis, are you? All right, let's go for Crohn's disease. There, see? We got both. And that unlocks colon cancer, but first he has to be 60 years old for that to be a possibility. But it would lead to weight loss and abdominal pain. Not sure how relevant that's going to be to me right now, but there you go. That certainly is an option. Oops, missed that one right there. Okay, brain aneurysm, he's starting to cure now, which is not that one. This one right here. So he's starting to cure the brain aneurysm, which sucks for me, but otherwise, meh, it's kind of okay. Anything else I can inflict upon this guy right now? Would like to affect your skeletal system, but they're all kind of expensive. What if I went for... Can't go for the UTI. I can't do anything right now. Need more points. Need more points. Okay, grab all of that. Come on. He's trying another one. He's testing for Crohn's disease. How did he know? It's almost as if the AI cheats in some way. Whoop, grab all those. Grab all of those. Ah, hotkeys are saving me. Okay, he's trying to recover. He's going for... Oh, he's going for the hemorrhoids. Last chance to get irritable bowel. Grab. We'll also grab type 1 diabetes. 12 points. I need to go for the skeletal system at least a little bit. Let's grab rickets next. Just diversify a little bit so that my AI opponent is just overwhelmed. Constipation's gonna get cured next. Kind of sucks. None of the systems have been failed yet, though. He developed a urinary tract infection for free. Oh, ain't that nifty. Thank you. Give me those DNA points. I keep saying DNA, and they're supposed to be bio points, but let's be honest, I'm always going to call them DNA, just because of my long outstanding history. Let's go for insomnia. Okay, and that unlocks chronic fatigue as well. Could certainly do some of that. He can't sleep at night. Okay. Circulatory system is currently the most vulnerable. Digestive system and nervous system are the next. I'd like to get those 3 down as quickly as possible. Whoop, the doctor has prescribed some cardio training, trying to improve his circulatory and respiratory system. Well, I can't really stand that now, can I? Let's see, go to the digestive system. Do we want to unlock gallstones? Can't afford it right now. Nervous system. Could unlock dementia for some paranoia. I'll go ahead and do that and try to shut down his brain a little bit faster. He's going crazy. Go to the immune system. Infectious diseases blood panel. Ooh, he's testing for a lot of stuff now. Well, let's see how well that works for you. Best of luck, AI. But it's a lot harder for you to play catch-up than for me to just start inflicting a lot of death and pain and suffering, so... Whoop, getting a big burst of DNA. Can't grab it all in time. Oh, gosh. Thank you. And he's going to the emergency room because his digestive system is in critical condition. And he's trying to cure something. I'm not going to allow that. Deep vein thrombosis is next. We could go for pulmonary embolism. I'm going to go for a stroke. Give him some confusion. I'd also like to... Well, I don't think we need to shut down too much more in the circulatory system. It's really going to go on its own, actually. The skeletal system is currently a little bit too strong for my liking. I probably should target that. But there goes one of his systems. Okay, so that unlocks the next level of resource. Let's grab that. 30% more resources. Thank you. His nervous system and renal system and circulatory system are shutting down very rapidly now. And the more of them shut down, the faster everything goes down. You're going to start noticing that happen pretty quick. That's 3 down. Going on 4. Oop, missed out on some points. It's fine. Skeletal system. Let's give him leukemia. Now, why can't I get some of these? He has to be over 60 years old for a lot of the different skeletal problems. That would cost me 12 DNA. I could do that, but then again, once everything else shuts down, I can't imagine his skeletal system will last very long. Could unlock the 3rd upgrade. Wouldn't even be a bad idea if I could do that. Let's go ahead and unlock that. There we go. Now we're just going to get straight up more points every time we pop one of these little bubbles. Well, I say bubbles. You know what I mean. Immune system's going down pretty quick. Skeletal system cannot last much longer. Let's try to evolve, let's say, over 60 years old. Can't. I'm 1 point shy. How dare you? All right, well, it doesn't matter. His health's down to 2%. He's not going to last. There we go. And risk factors, over 60 years old. There we go. And that should finish him off. He is now dead, and every single one of his systems is gone. Goodbye, John Smith. Death mode is a lot faster and a lot less frustrating than life mode, because you feel like you're in some sense of control, some sort of sadistic sense of control. But in the meantime, I think this should get me up to level 6, which should make it even easier going forward. More XP, more boosters. I do like that. Oh, no, just slightly shy. Oh, well. Cardiorespiratory arrest would be the next one. So that's BioInk Redemption, everybody. Between those 2 videos, you've now seen a life campaign and a death campaign. And that's kind of how it works. 2 sides to the same coin, one trying to save a life, another trying to take it. The life mode is very frustrating. Very frustrating. It's a lot of guesswork and intelligent guessing. And death mode is just sadistic and a bit more strategy, much more similar to Plague Inc. in that way. Both kind of different games in and of their own right, in my opinion, but definitely using the same mechanics. So I'm not going to give you any sort of review at this point. That's just sort of my first impressions of the game. It is pretty fun in my opinion, but there's definitely some room for improvement. I do think that the way that you currently pop bubbles is a little bit too similar to the way you would use it on a smartphone, so maybe it should be kind of streamlined or kind of reworked for the PC. I do think that lifestyles and stuff, at least on the life side, is a little underwhelming, or at least I don't fully understand how useful it could be. I mean, really on life, I feel like the only thing you're supposed to do is diagnose, whereas death, I made use of all 3 of the different tabs up in the top. So there's a little bit of room for improvement in my opinion, or at least some ways that it could be streamlined for the PC instead of trying to be a port from a smartphone game. But otherwise, in and of itself, it's got some similarities to Plague Inc., and if you like Plague Inc., you might like BioInk, but it is different enough that I think it warrants being its own game. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to hit that like button if you did, leave a comment, and subscribe if you are new. And I, as always, will see you guys next time.